In today's world, silence feels like a luxury. We live in a constant storm of noise, notifications buzzing on our phones, cars honking in traffic, television blaring in the background, conversations overlapping in crowded spaces, music streaming endlessly, podcasts filling the gaps. Noise has become the wallpaper of modern life, so persistent that we barely notice it anymore. And because of that, silence, the absence of noise, has become rare, almost alien. Some people even fear silence because they don't know what to do with it. But what if I told you that silence is not just an absence, but a power? A force that can transform the way we think, heal the way we feel, and change the way we live. Today, let's dive deep into the forgotten power of silence, why we've lost it, and why we desperately need it back. Let's start with a simple question. When was the last time you experienced complete silence? Not just quiet, but actual silence. No humming from the fridge, no cars outside, no background chatter, just stillness. For most people, the answer is, I can't remember. True silence is incredibly rare because our world is designed to fill every gap with sound. Think about it. Walk into a restaurant and there's always music playing. Step into an elevator, music. Go to the gym, music. Even shopping malls are filled with carefully curated soundtracks to influence your mood. We live in a sound-saturated world, and silence is treated as if it's uncomfortable, something to be avoided. But silence isn't empty. Silence is alive. When you remove noise, something magical happens. You can finally hear yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your intuition. Without silence, those inner voices get drowned out. This is why so many people feel lost, anxious, or disconnected. They've never given themselves the chance to truly listen inward. Science backs this up. Studies show that silence can actually regenerate brain cells. In 2013, researchers discovered that 2 hours of silence per day could lead to the growth of new cells in the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, emotion, and learning. Think about that. Silence literally rewires your brain. It sharpens focus, reduces stress, and boosts creativity. No wonder some of the greatest thinkers in history, Newton, Tesla, Einstein, spent hours alone in silence. They understood that genius doesn't thrive in constant noise. It grows in stillness. But let's be honest, most people avoid silence because it's uncomfortable. Why? Because silence strips away distraction. When you're in silence, you can't hide behind music, TV, or endless scrolling. You're forced to confront yourself, your regrets, your fears, your insecurities. That is why so many people fill every moment with noise. They were running away from their own inner dialogue. But here's the paradox. The very thing we run from, silence, is the only thing that can help us face those fears and transform them. Think about arguments. Have you ever noticed how powerful silence can be in a conversation? When two people are fighting, and one suddenly goes silent, the entire atmosphere shifts. Silence is not weakness, it's strength. It forces the other person to reflect, to reconsider, to fill the gap with their own thoughts. In fact, negotiators and lawyers often use silence as a weapon. After making a statement, they go quiet. That silence creates pressure, forcing the other side to reveal more than they intended. Silence speaks louder than words. Now let's explore the spiritual side of silence. Every major religion in history has emphasized silence as a path to enlightenment. In Christianity, monks retreat into silence to hear the voice of God. In Buddhism, silence is meditation, the doorway to inner peace. In Hinduism, the concept of mauna is the practice of silence as a form of discipline and self-control. Indigenous cultures also see silence as sacred, a way to connect with nature, ancestors, and the universe itself. Across time and culture, silence has always been recognized as more than just quiet. It is sacred space. But here's the tragedy. We've forgotten this. We've replaced silence with constant stimulation. And as a result, we're more anxious, more restless, and more distracted than ever before. Anxiety rates are skyrocketing, attention spans are shrinking, and people feel disconnected from themselves. Could the cure be something as simple as silence? Imagine if every day you spent just 10 minutes in silence. No phone, no music, no background noise, just you, sitting in stillness. At first, it would feel strange. Your mind would race. You'd feel the urge to grab your phone. But slowly, something would change. You'd start to hear your own thoughts more clearly. You'd notice emotions you've been ignoring. You'd feel calmer, lighter, more centered. Over time, those 10 minutes would become the most important part of your day. Silence isn't about emptiness. It's about making space for yourself. Now, let's think about relationships. Silence is just as important as words. Couples who can sit in silence without discomfort share a deeper bond. Friends who can sit quietly together without needing to fill the space with chatter understand each other more deeply. Silence builds intimacy because it shows trust. When you're not afraid of silence, you're not afraid of authenticity. And let's not forget nature. Have you ever gone into the wilderness and experienced that almost otherworldly silence? Standing in a forest at dawn, hearing nothing but the rustle of leaves. Sitting by a lake where the water is still, the air is still, and even the birds are quiet. That kind of silence heals something deep inside us. It reminds us that we are part of something bigger, something timeless. That is why people who spend time in nature often feel renewed. It is not just the fresh air, it's the silence. But silence isn't just external, it's internal too. Internal silence means quieting the constant chatter of your mind. Meditation is one way to achieve this. Prayer is another. Even deep breathing can help. When you silence the noise inside, you access a level of clarity and peace that nothing else can provide. Internal silence is what allows you to live with intention rather than being tossed around by every distraction. So why don't we practice silence more often? Because society glorifies noise. If you're busy, you're important. If you're loud, you're noticed. If you're constantly producing, you're valuable. Silence doesn't fit into this narrative. It looks like laziness, emptiness, or weakness. But that's an illusion. In truth, silence is strength. It's the foundation upon which clarity, creativity, and wisdom are built. Here's the challenge. Bring silence back into your life. Start small. 10 minutes of silence every morning. A walk without headphones. Turning off the TV while you eat. Sitting in a room without your phone. Let the silence wash over you. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. But discomfort is the beginning of growth. Over time, silence will transform you. You'll be calmer. You'll think more clearly. You'll listen more deeply. You'll feel more connected to yourself, to others, to the world. You'll realize that silence was never empty. It was always full of truth, full of wisdom, full of life. The forgotten power of silence is waiting for us to rediscover it. In a world drowning in noise, silence is not just an escape. It is resistance. It is healing. It is power. And the more we embrace it, the more we remember what it truly means to be human. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or lost, don't reach for more noise. Don't scroll. Don't distract yourself. Instead, pause, breathe, and enter the silence. Because in the silence, you might just find everything you've been searching for.